Okay, friends and friends on Lumberjocks, the last 3 videos I put on and the last 3 postings on Lumberjocks have been on a jig that has been able to drill or cut slots in a sequence around a circle. Anyway, in order to do that, you need an indexing plate. There's a number of ways that this could be done. The first ones that I did on a actual machinist part called a rotating table, and they were quite accurate. So I wanted to develop something that you could do very easily with minimal equipment. So this is what I've come up with, and I want to show you that today. Just as a review, the first projects that I did was, of course, this wheel here, cutting the treads around, and then drilling all the holes in the circles. If you haven't seen those videos, you might want to do this. This is a project that you haven't seen yet, and that's a tractor tire for a model. Where these are all cut on the first jig that I made, and this was on the second jig, and the third jig gives the possibility of making something like this. This one isn't perfect, but it was one of the first ones where I just tested it out, and I never could do something like that before I made this the last jig that was posted there. So anyway, today we're going to show you how to make these indexing plates. This one here is 36 degrees, 10 indents, and I've got them. Here's one that has 40 degrees apart. Well, that's a 10 too. And I've got other ones here with different settings here. Here's a 20 degrees, 18 holes. So this is my plan here. First of all, you're going to need a disc for your indexing plate. Some people were asking how big these were. These are a little over 3 inches in diameter. I think I measured it was around 3 3/8, but a 3-inch diameter would work just fine, and using a 1/2-inch hole in the middle there. So, and this is what you're going to want to do for this jig. You want to have a circle divided up into exactly even number of parts. Now you could do this with the old method with the protractor. What I did on these was go to the computer and just look up images, put in how many images I want, and sometimes they have them, sometimes they don't. Now I did do one here as a trial effort for 14, and when I got to looking at it after I tried my jig out, there was some of the spacings weren't exactly even. So if you do it off the computer, make sure you take a dividers, and just take a dividers with 2 points, and make sure that these segments are all exactly equal, because if they're not equal, your final project's not going to come out. Here's one of the images down here that I took off the computer, and it's got 22 divisions. So what you have to do is you have to set a compass exactly to the size of the diameter. It's actually the radius, so you can make a circle of on the one that you did, and then just put it in the exact center. Draw a circle all the way around, and that's extremely important for positioning. And then you take a scissors, go snip, 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 and then you have a pattern. Now the reason that's going to there, because we want to have that exactly in the center, and if you have that exactly cut to the right diameter, it'll fit right on there, and you'll get it onto the center. You'll see the importance of that right away. And then you just need to glue this on, like this one. This one's glued on. I used just some spray spray adhesive, but you could use like a glue or something like that. So that's all there is to it. Now, of course, when you copy the image off the computer, you can I put it in a word processing program, copy, paste into a word processing, and then I was able to print it off. You may be able to, I'm not that computer literate, so there may be other ways to do it. And then you can actually drag the corner and make it to a different size. But so it's up to you to come up with something with the divisions that you want to use on there. So I guess that's about it. We're ready to drill the holes. This will only take a few more minutes. Okay, this is the jig that I made. It's super simple, very super simple. It's easy to make. And so what's going to happen here, you have to put a pin in here the same size as the hole in your project there. If you didn't use 1/2 inch, you could go to 3/8 or some other setting. And then your pattern's going to sit right onto that. The other part about this jig here is we need something to line up those circles. And I just took that little piece of wood, brought it right down to the bottom. And then I'm going to use a couple wing nuts on here so we can loosen it as we tighten it here. I'm working backwards here and can't get it started, but I got that one to go. And we'll try to get this one on here. Okay, so the setup here is your drill bit. Now your drill bit is, you have to have one of these bits here. This is a double-ended thing, but it's called a center drill. It's used in machining work for in the lathe, drilling the center of a metal shaft. It's got the taper on here for a live center. And you notice how thick it is here, and it points down here. That'll stay right, it won't wander like a drill. We want to use, you need one of these that has the taper on it. And they come in different sizes. This one on that I have here is a little smaller than this one. In woodwork, you'll find these are very handy for any woodworking that you do. So then to set up the jig, all you have to do is make sure that your drill bit is right in the center. You put one of your lines vertical, it should line up right in the center there, this top part of the circle here. And even that's not really important because it's off, it'll be off all the way around, and it won't make much difference whether you're just a wee bit off center or not. And then you lock your table down, find your where you want to drill your holes here, and then lock it all down good. Put it on a fairly high speed here. The other thing that you need to do is set up your stop on your drill press here. For all drill presses have a depth stop, and just put the two nuts together so each time you drill it comes out to the right depth there. So other than that, I guess we're ready to start here. So okay, this is all we have to do for the setup to know where to drill the hole. Is on this piece of this guide here, I could call it a guide or a marker or whatever, your line on your project, you want to have it exactly right on your line or parallel to it. It might be a little above or just a little bit down, but make sure it's parallel. This particular pattern, I think there's 10 holes in it, So the line goes all the way across. You can set it up quite accurately. This one here that I set up, those go across too. This one had 22 divisions, but if you go to odd numbers, I did one this morning that was 21, because that tractor tire is supposed to, the tractor that I took it off of had 21 cleats on it, and it would have been nice to have a 21, but I only had an 18 and a 24, so I did an 18 on that tractor tire. So that's lined up. We can just tighten that a little bit. Doesn't take much. And turn the drill press on. Down to the stop. Turn it to the next one. Take extra time and be very accurate on making sure those are right on the line. This is actually, if you get a good pattern, it's actually easier and faster than what I did on the rotating table, where I had to adjust it every time for the number of degrees. This is just line up and drill. You don't have to, with the rotating table, you have to make a chart. And you must remember, you're doing things out of wood, so it's not as doesn't have to be as precise as if you were doing something out of metal where you had shafts and all kinds of things that had to be just perfect. But it's all done. Just as good as if I'd had that $500 rotating table. So then you just take this off, sand it up, and ready to make something with 10 holes. So thanks for watching, and I'd like to see some of the projects and things you do if you make these jigs. So I'll see you next time.